So, good morning. I'm here with my mom, DawnManyfeathers. I'm Sean Spirit Panther. We're gonna make some fry bread this morning. And a lot of times when people hear about fry bread, if you've heard of it, you think about powwows, you think about, from scratch, throwing things together, a big mess. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about that anymore because we have an already made fry bread mix. This one is Manyfeathers Complete Fry Bread Mix. Just add water, pumpkin. So yes, we're getting ready to do pumpkin fry bread. Tell me you've heard of pumpkin fry bread before. So let's get started. Each one of these bags is about 1.5 pounds. Contains everything that you're going to need in order to make your fry bread besides the oil, the water, and your cooking utensils. On the back are directions that you can follow along while you're making your fry bread, as well as, this handy dandy video we're making. On the bottom it says Native American made and proud of it. That is a law in the United States that states you can't put Native American made on your products unless you're actually indigenous. So you can have the comfort of knowing that this is all indigenous made. We're carded. We're allowed to put our Native American made on our product. Each one of these is vacuum sealed. You'll see that there's an expiration date on the front of them. They'll last a couple years. Buy a couple, put them in your cupboard, use them when you need to. Go ahead,
First thing we're going to do is open the bag. In the bag is about a little bit over 4.5 cups of fry bread mix. So we're going to make it all today. You don't have to. What you can do is you can take a little out, use it, and then save the rest for another time. You can smell the pumpkin and the spices already. Now we're going to add, the directions say how much water?
It says 1.5 to 1 3/4 cup.
All right, here's the 1 cup. Here's a 1/2 cup. And actually, you may need more because, okay, we're gonna do, there's the 3/4 mark. And it's very warm water. And what I'm going to do is mix it in. It depends on how dry your flour is, on how much water you're going to need. Mix it gently just until it's totally combined into a dough. Now I'm going to need this other water. And maybe even a little more, depends on the flour.
Get in there with your fingers, mix it all in there.
And my hands are very clean, trust me.
Yes, make sure you wash your hands in the beginning.
All right, you see how dry that is? What we want is the consistency of what's on my fingers. So we got to get those dry spots. Let's add some more hot water.
So remember, it's saying 1.5 to 1 3/4, but it's really going to depend upon the consistency of the dough as to how much water you're going to put in there. You don't want it to be too runny, or else you're not going to be able to make your fry bread patties, or however you want to call it. I don't know what to call it.
All right, we're getting there. But as you can see, I'm trying not to overwork the dough. When you overwork your dough, it's going to get tough. We want it light and fluffy on the out and crispy on the outside. So this is about it. Now I've added about 1/2 cup more. And as you can see, I'm turning it over with my fingers so that I get all the mix in there.
Wait until you smell it when you make your own fry bread. You'll smell all of the pumpkin and spices, especially the water just wakes it up.
All right. So I'm not kneading, I'm mixing. You see how sticky that is? That's what we want. We want it sticky, yet it slides very slowly off your hand. This also goes for the traditional mix. Both of them are mixed the same way. You see there's no dry spots in the bottom. So what we're going to do is, since I've worked him out quite a bit, we're going to cover it and leave it sit for about 45 minutes for the pumpkin. It's got actual pumpkin in it. For that pumpkin to rehydrate and bring its flavor to the party. Okay, so
we're going to take a bite. We're going to put it on top of here. We're going to let it set, and then we'll be back. So our oil has gotten to 325. Now we're going to drop the fry bread into the oil. So you're going to take your hands and...
you want to oil your hands real well, because we're not going to flour this fry bread. We're going to fry it in oil, so we're not going to get the oil real dirty. So you want to pat it out to about 1/4 of an inch and drop it in.
Look at that.
You can see that it's a little bit tan color, and that's all those beautiful spices in there.
Yeah, so if you end up getting the traditional flavor, don't
It'll
expect
be
that
white.
it's going to be quite as tan. It's going to be a white flour. This has the pumpkin and other spices in it that give it its color.
And never put your hand in the pot when the hot fry bread's in there.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
I've been doing this for so long, I know what to touch and what not to touch.
Wait until you see it flipped.
Now I'm using a candy fry thermometer here. And this is about 1.5 quarts of oil in the frying pan here. I want it to float.
They all float.
So you want your fry bread to float. And I'm moving it because I don't want it to stick or fry together. But I'm not flipping it yet until it gets brown on the bottom. You want to try to only flip it once.
How long do you think it normally takes before you have to...
Well, your first ones are going to be your lightest. And it's going to take a little bit longer for the first ones. Now, our temperature is coming up a little bit more. You want to turn this to about down a little bit. Okay. We don't want it too much past 350 because the outside will cook and the inside won't.
Yeah, then you end up with a doughy fry bread.
Yeah. Now, when you see it, you can see in the oil, when you see it get nice and golden brown down underneath that oil where you can see it's getting brown now. All right. Let me turn that. Then you want to flip it, but it's not quite where I want it yet. I want it nice golden brown, and I'm dripping oil. That's not drip oil. So I've got a bowl of clean oil. I dip my clean hands into the clean oil, and then I grab about a nice size. And then I work with that by pulling it and moving it until I get it where I want, and then I drop it in. If you've got holes, it doesn't matter. It'll just help it cook a little bit better. All right, you want to flip it?
So we're going to use tongs. See, we have a nice little... there's some wajabi that we're making in another video. And we have a nice little container to put our fry bread in when it's done.
You can put it on paper towels. I just like it on the rack so that the oil goes through and not sit on the paper towels.
So we're going to take
Look at that. Nice and golden brown.
Beautiful. Try not to knock over the thermometer. Look at that. Look at that color. It's so beautiful.
The thermometer's not touching the bottom of the pan. It's above it. And as you can see, there's divots in this side where when I put it in, it puffed up. But that's where your wajapi wants to sit, right in them.
Right in the middle there.
Yes.
Or if you don't have wajapi, you can put some honey, some powdered sugar,
some butter,
Yeah, it's delicious. Our fry bread is a dessert fry bread. This pumpkin is kind of like a dessert.
It's a
fry
sweet.
bread. Been making this for 25 years, at least.
Alrighty, let me check temperature here. Okay, so we're just under 350 degrees.
Okay.
And the bottom side will get done faster than the top did. So let me see here.
So you want to keep looking at it.
There we are.
It's not gonna take as long to do the second side as it took to do the first side. We're gonna put it in the rack, facing kind of like sideways. This way, the oil will drip down onto the paper towel, and you won't have a big oily mess because we just fried it in oil.
Yeah.
You don't want it to get soggy and like weighed down by oil.
And
So
you can hear the crispiness.
yeah, it's like some ASMR stuff.
All right.
So we're gonna
There
end
you go, I
up
got
dropping
that
more
oily.
fry bread, and we'll come back when our fry bread's finished so that you can see the finished product. But
It all depends on how big you make your fry bread, on how many pieces you get out of that 4.5 cups of, or 4+ cups of fry bread mix.
okay, so this is like an average size piece of fry bread when you're doing it the dessert way. With the traditional, you might do like a larger, you know, especially if you're making fry bread tacos or something, or if you're gonna break it in half and make Jesus fry bread. That's a Smoke Signals reference if you don't know, it's a movie. Okay. So we'll come back when the fry bread's complete.
21?
Look at all this fry bread you get for one package. It's like 10. If you consider the one that I took out with to put with honey, it's 10. Plus there's another 3 in there. Plus there's another 1 in there. So you're getting your money's worth. It's about $20 with shipping included. So good. So with the fry bread, you can top it with many different things. Some people use butter, some people use a powdered sugar. Right now I'm going to use a whipped honey that I have. Okay, you don't want to put too much on there because this is a whipped honey. It's going to melt into the fry bread. That's actually a lot right there. See how it gets right there in the crevice? Delicious. Can you hear the crunch? All right, we're gonna take the fry bread and we're gonna put some wajapi on top of it. So let's see how that goes, guys. I like to have the little divot there to soak up the wajapi. Look at that wajapi. Oh my gosh. Wajapi. Okay. Take some. Oh, look at that. I'm doing my Daniel McCoy impressions here. Oh, yummy. Okay. Let's figure something to do with this spoon.
Float it.
Look at that. Wajapi makes a really good ice cream topper. Makes a really good fry bread topper. Let's see how it tastes, guys. All right, let's see if I make a mess. You ready? You have the crunch from the fry bread. Pumpkin-y taste here. Look at all that. You just don't know. Just don't know. So remember that this is a Manyfeathers fry bread mix. The only place you're gonna get this pumpkin fry bread mix is through Manyfeathers. That's my mom. I'll place a link that shows where you can purchase it. Maybe you can make some delicious, crunchy wajapi and fry bread for yourself.